Okay, so just a little bit of a preview of what we will be doing tonight. I'm going to offer you some grounding practices, some breath awareness practices. There'll be some offerings for some gentle, mindful movement. And then I'm going to be showing you how to set up for a restorative yoga pose. And then I'll be guiding you through a yoga nidra. Yoga nidra is it's a form of meditation, but it's a really guided meditation. It's very somatic because we're going to be focusing on relaxing and softening through the different areas of the body. And I really love it. I'm one of those type of people that when I first started meditating, my mind was just going a million miles an hour. I just couldn't seem to get any quiet at all. But Yoga Nidra really helped me to find that meditative place. And now I find seated meditation is much, much easier for me. Okay, so I think we might get started. I'll invite you to find a position that feels supportive for you. You might like to be sitting, you might like to be lying down. If you're sitting, you could be sitting on the floor, you could be sitting on a chair. You might be lying down on your back, especially if you've had a big day, or maybe you're already starting to feel tired and you're welcome to lie down. And you're at home, so you might even be lying on your couch, you might even be lying on your bed. Nothing wrong with bed yoga. Take your time to find your way to a position that feels right for you to begin. And once you've found your position, any small movements, that might help you to feel more settled. Maybe you're making some swaying movements from side to side. Maybe you're wriggling through your shoulders or your hands or your feet or your toes. Any movements that might help you. If you still have your eyes open, one option could be to turn your head side to side and take a look at the room. Taking a look at your room, notice what objects, what colors, where there's shadow, where there's light. You can come into stillness whenever you feel you're ready. Whether you decide to keep your eyes open or whether you'd like to let your eyes gently close. I invite you now to take notice of how your body is meeting the ground or the surface beneath you. Can you really pay attention to those places where your body is connecting to the ground or the surface beneath you? Maybe a feeling of heaviness in your body. You might also pay attention to the places where your clothing is resting on your body. You might be able to notice where the air meets your skin. Letting your face be soft, letting your jaw be loose, letting your shoulders gently ease downwards. softening your belly. And then you might take a few moments to let your awareness travel through your body. Is there anywhere where you could soften, even if it's just a tiny bit more? Are there places where you might be holding on to tension, where you could now release? I'll invite you next to bring your awareness to your breath. And if it feels okay for you to have your lips sealed, then you could be breathing in and out through your nostrils. So there's many different breath practices, but tonight I'd just like to keep it a really simple breath awareness practice. I'm going to make mention of 4 different locations. See if you can feel the rise and fall of your breath in each of these places. So the first one is your nostrils. Can you feel the air traveling into your nostrils and then traveling out? In the second location, I'll invite you to bring your awareness to the center of your throat. Can you feel the sensation of your breath inside your throat? The third location is the center of your chest or your rib cage. See if you can feel how your rib cage rises or expands when you breathe in and then lowers as you breathe out. And the fourth location, your belly. And see if you can feel the movement of your belly. Belly rises when you breathe in and then lowers as you breathe out. There might be one of those places in particular where you would like to hold your awareness for the next couple of rounds of breath, whether it's your nostrils, center of your throat, your rib cage, or your belly. So maybe holding your awareness in one of those places, observing the rise and fall of your breath for the next, say, 3 or 4 rounds of breath. And then letting go of that focus point. I invite you to take notice of how your breath is feeling now. Maybe your breath has become a little bit slower. Maybe your breath has become a little bit deeper. or smoother. If you can't notice any change, that's also fine. Just being curious about how your breath is feeling now. Okay, I'm going to invite you to join me for some movement next. If you're already lying down and you don't feel like moving very much, that's totally okay. Remember, everything is an invitation. So if you know that you just want to rest, then please do. That's totally fine. Okay, these movements are going to be fairly gentle tonight anyway. In some of my other classes, we'll do more movement. Usually the Monday night class is mainly restorative type of yoga and really slow, gentle movement. Okay, so if you're already lying down, you can stay there. Or if you were sitting, maybe making your way down to lie on your back. And possibly with your feet to the ground, so your knees are bent. And you can decide how far apart you want to take your feet. Maybe you want to take your feet a little bit wider apart, or maybe they're closer in together. Maybe you want to have your hands on your belly, or maybe the arms rest down to the floor. And feel free to make any small movements here. Maybe you're having a wriggle through your shoulders. Maybe you're turning your head a little bit side to side. I'm going to invite you to start to let your knees drop to one side like windscreen wipers, and then bring them back to the middle, then letting them drop to the next side. Any amount. Your movements could be really small, or if you do want to make those movements bigger, you could let your knees come a little closer towards the floor on each side. And when your knees drop to one side, really notice if your pelvis is lifting away from the floor. So the side of your pelvis could be lifting away from the floor, possibly turning your head the opposite way from your knees. You could also link this together with your breath. So you could be at center when you breathe in, and then you could let your knees drop with your exhale. So you could come back to the center with an inhale, moving into the twist with an exhale. If it suits you to follow your breath. Otherwise, just moving at whatever pace suits you. Whether you have your eyes open, whether you have your eyes closed. Can you be aware of sensations in your body? Maybe you're starting to feel a stretch somewhere. Maybe your body's starting to feel a little bit warmer, or maybe not. I'm going to show you a different variation, but you could certainly continue with that one. Another version could be to bring your feet away from the floor, so your knees could come a little bit closer in. You could keep going by letting your knees and legs drop to one side, coming back to the middle. You could be at center with an inhale, move into the twist with an exhale. And if you're still going with these movements, maybe one or two more if you'd like. Whenever you next come back to the middle, I'm going to invite you to bring your knees a little bit closer towards your chest. Maybe bring your hands to your knees, or it might feel better to have your hands kind of to the back of your knees. And maybe the knees could come a little bit closer in if that feels okay for your belly. Possibly making some circling movements with your knees going around in one direction. Good. And then if you're going one direction, you might also want to try and go the other direction. Excellent. And then whenever you're ready to pause with that, you could flex your feet, send your legs up. If you don't want to send your legs up, you could certainly keep your knees bent. If you're happy to send your legs up, don't worry whether you're able to straighten through your legs or not. Maybe you just prefer to keep a bend through your knees. Maybe lifting the arms as well, and then you could start to make circles into your ankle joints and your wrist joints, wriggling through your fingers and your toes as well. Any speed that suits you. Maybe you're going super slow, or maybe it just doesn't feel that good to go slow and you want to go faster. If you're making movements through your ankles and your wrists and your hands and your feet, can you really be aware of the sensations in those areas? Tuning into the felt sense of your body. And with all those circles, you might also want to try and reverse. Nice. Okay. You can pause whenever you want to, and maybe hugging the knees back in. One option here could be to rock from side to side, whether you're holding onto your knees or the backs of your knees, or you might even be able to wrap your arms around your legs, rocking one side to the other, giving your back a bit of a massage on the ground. This is one you can do anytime. I feel that sense of being connected to the ground. And if you know you want to stay lying down, you are welcome to, or you could roll yourself over to one side. You might want to pause on your side and take a few extra breaths, only when you feel okay to come up, if you want to come up. You could press your hands to the floor and then gradually find your way up from there. Yeah, so if you're lying down and you're really happy to stay there, that's totally fine. We'll only be doing a few seated movements, and then we'll be going into the restorative pose. Okay. So again, you could be sitting on the floor, you could be sitting on a chair, you could be sitting with your legs crossed if you're on the floor, or you might want to have one leg out or both legs stretched out, however suits you. And if you are coming up to sit, just check that you're sitting tall on your sitting bones. So I usually make a bit of a swaying movement just so I can feel that I'm sitting tall on my sitting bones. We're so used to sitting in chairs that have backs on them, or sitting on in the seat in the car, or sitting on couches, that usually when we sit, we tend to round back because we're usually pressing our backs to the back of the couch or the back of the seat. But see if you can just check. I'm just going to show you that side on. So usually what we're doing is kind of pressing our back, and then you can probably see that I've removed the curve here. So instead, if you're sitting tall on your sitting bones, see if you can have that curve happening in that lumbar area. One other thing you can try, if you find that a bit of a challenge, one other thing you could try is have a folded blanket or a cushion and just pop it a little bit beneath your sitting bone. So that will raise your pelvis just slightly, and it tends to be a little bit easier to sit upright. So that's just one thing you can do if you like. All right. Oops, I've got too many cushions here on the screen. Okie dokes. I'm going to invite you to make some shoulder movements. So shoulders could go forwards and then back a few times, or you could make some circles into your shoulders, or maybe there's a different way you want to move your shoulders. Especially with this cold weather here in Melbourne. I've been doing lots of movements through my shoulders. If you're circling, you can also reverse that. Excellent. And then I'm going to show you another way to move through your shoulders. If you'd like, you could interlace your fingers, press your palms out in front, and then lifting your arms up overhead. Palms could be facing up here if that feels all right. Bending into your elbows, and then making some little circles so that you're moving from your shoulder joints. Just keep it fairly small. This might feel quite intense, so don't do too many if it's feeling like a lot. You might want to circle the other way too. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to reach your arms up overhead. Take a breath in here. And when you're ready to breathe out, bring one hand down and coming into a side stretch. Let your inhalation bring you back to the center, lifting up. And then the exhale, you could take that to the next side. Notice where you're feeling a stretch. Continuing on so that you're moving at your own breath pace. Maybe one more if you're still going. And coming right back to the middle with an inhalation, lifting up. Then with an exhale, letting your arms go out and down. Nice. And then maybe some more little shoulder movements if you'd like. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to come to an all fours position. This will be the last one, then we'll go into restorative yoga. So if you're coming to all fours, that could be on your hands, or you could be down on your forearms and your elbows. You could start to make some swaying movements side to side. You could stay with swaying side to side, or you could circle around. And this one's really nice for warming up into the joints. So you might notice some sensation in your wrist joints, shoulder joints, knees, hips, or you might be noticing that movement of the vertebra of your spine. The circles could also reverse. Good, and feel free to keep moving if you'd like, or you might like to come to child's pose. So you could sit back towards your heels, maybe bring your forehead down to rest on the floor, or you could stack your fists or stack your hands, or even grab a cushion or a folded blanket so that you can bring your forehead down. It's also totally fine to take the knees wider. My personal preference is to have the knees wide apart. And you can go ahead and close your eyes here. Maybe just a few rounds of breath. checking in with how you're feeling. Okay, I'm going to invite you next to start to get ready for restorative yoga. I'm just going to do one restorative yoga pose, but I'm going to show you two different variations depending on what props you might have there available. So I know probably not everyone has got a yoga bolster, but some of you may have. So I'm going to show that one first, and then I'm going to show a very similar thing but with cushions. I have 4 of these cushions, but you might also want to use some bed pillows. You definitely need at least 2 bed pillows for this, I think, and a block. So I'm going to set this up. And the thing with restorative yoga is it does take a little bit of time to set up. So don't be in a rush. It's good to take your time and make sure you're going to be really comfy. Restorative yoga is a way to really help to find calm for your body and your mind. It's a way to activate the parasympathetic nervous system state. So that's the rest and digest. So what I have here is a yoga bolster that I've propped up with a block. Actually, I'm going to turn the block this way. But depending on what you've got, you might only have like a book or even an extra rolled up blanket or something there to lift up one end of your bolster. I'm going to do a similar thing with cushions in a moment as well. So I'm going to show you that. If you are using a bolster, I would, and especially if your bolster is quite firm like mine is, I would suggest a blanket that you can sit on so that there's not so much curvature through your lower back. So as you can see, I'm bringing the back of my pelvis to the start of the bolster. This is called Supta Baddha Konasana, or the lying butterfly pose. You could have some rolled up blankets or extra cushions to place in beneath the thighs, and then soles of the feet together so knees go wide apart. If that doesn't suit you and you just want to have your legs out or even your legs crossed, that's okay. And then I'm going to lie back on the bolster. As I bring my head down, I just want to check that my head is neither too lifted nor too far back. So in other words, I don't want to have my chin riding towards my chest, nor do I want to have my chin too lifted. I'm just trying to find that kind of in-between place where I'm not feeling my neck muscles have to do too much work. And I'm aiming to bring my elbows and my arms down to the floor. If your elbows aren't quite to the floor, then you want to have extra blankets or something that your elbows can connect with, because then you'll just have a lot more, it'll be a lot more relaxing for your shoulders and your arms. I'll show you a very similar version using cushions rather than using a bolster. So I have, these pillows are quite firm, but if you have bed pillows, I would definitely have 2. And I'm just going to have the block still there so that these cushions are slightly higher where my head's going to go. And I know for these ones I probably won't need that blanket to sit on. But a similar thing, I'm going to lay back. This is really nice for opening, especially that upper chest area. And again, you just want to check that your head is feeling fairly centered, your chin is not too lifted nor too close towards your chest. And if you did want to have the knees wide with the soles of the feet together, I would suggest having some extra rolled up blankets just to kind of wedge in under your knees or under your thighs. And again, it's really helpful For your shoulders and your arms, if you can bring your elbows down to rest, as well as your arms. I have my palms facing up, resting on the ground. Another option could be hands resting on your belly. And then the other thing I would recommend is popping a blanket right over your body. If you have an eye cover or an eye pillow, or even a scarf to go over your eyes, that might be nice as well. And so restorative yoga is about finding a place of rest and comfort for your body so that your nervous system can get a bit quieter, helping to bring your body into that parasympathetic nervous system state, that state of rest and digest. And that is the opposite from the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight, flight, freeze response. And so I'll give everyone another minute or so. As I said, it can take some time to set up for restorative yoga. So take all the time you need. That's part of the practice. Making sure that you're going to be warm, comfortable, maybe popping something over your eyes, or maybe you just want to turn the light out in your room if it was on. Getting ready in your restorative yoga pose. I'm going to guide you through a yoga nidra practice. It's okay if you haven't quite yet found that comfortable restorative position, but you can take more time if you need, or maybe you've found your way there. Covering over your eyes, or just letting your eyes close. I invite you to bring your awareness back to the natural flow of your breath. There might be one place in particular where you're noticing your breath, so I'll mention those 4 areas again. Your nostrils, center of your throat, your rib cage, your belly. Maybe there's one of those areas where you can feel the rise and fall of your breath. For the practice of Yoga Nidra, I'm going to invite you to bring your awareness into your body. I'm going to mention different areas, and as I mention each area, I will invite you to soften and relax into each place. Start by bringing your awareness to your left leg, softening your left hip, left thigh, left knee, lower leg, left ankle, left foot, left toes. Now bringing your awareness to your right leg, softening right hip, right thigh, right knee, lower leg, right ankle, right foot, and softening right toes. Now bringing your awareness to your left arm, softening left shoulder, left upper arm, elbow, lower arm, left wrist, your left hand, softening fingers and thumb. Now bringing your awareness to your right arm, softening right shoulder, upper arm, elbow, lower arm, right wrist, right hand, right fingers and thumb. Bringing your awareness now to the crown of your head, softening at the crown of your head, softening at the back of your head, softening your face, soften your forehead and the inside of your forehead, your eyes and the backs of your eyes. Soften your temples, your ears, inside your ears. Soften your nose, inside your nostrils. Soften around your cheekbones, your lips, your tongue, and inside your mouth. Softening around your jaw. Softening inside your head. And now softening the muscles of your neck and inside your throat. Softening your rib cage at the front and the back. Softening inside your chest. Softening your upper abdomen, your navel center, and your lower abdomen. Softening your pelvis, softening inside your pelvis. Softening the whole of the left side of your body, whole of the left side. Softening the whole of the right side of your body, whole of the right side. Left side and right side together. Softening the whole of the back of your body. Softening the whole of the front of your body. Front and back together. Softening the whole of the outside of your body. Softening the whole of the inside of your body. Outside and inside together. The whole of your body as one. Awareness of the whole of your body softening, letting any tension melt away. I'm going to invite you to silently repeat the following words to yourself. I am awake. I am aware. I welcome every perception as a messenger, guiding me home to wholeness. I am awake. I am aware. I welcome every perception as a messenger, guiding me home to wholeness. welcome to stay in your resting position. If you haven't already, maybe you'd like to bring one hand or both hands to somehow connect to your body. That might be bringing your hands to rest on your belly, or maybe one hand might come to your rib cage, the other to your belly. And coming back to your breath, observing your breath. Maybe deepening your breath. I invite you to take a moment here to acknowledge your experience of your yoga practice this evening. And saying thank you to yourself for giving yourself this time. Honoring your own well-being, practicing self-care. Inviting a feeling of gratitude into your heart. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings dwell in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all beings never be parted from freedom's true joy. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.